Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my final female K-pop favorites of 2025. Now, this is my favorite video to make as I get to look back at another amazing year and handpick the releases, idols, and performances that have stuck out to me for the majority of the year. Here are all the categories that I'm going to cover, and since it's my last video for the year, I will also end it with a quick summary of my personal thoughts for 2025 before the year comes to a close. Now, we have 8 categories to go through, so let's get started. Alright, so for our first category, we got my favorite group. Probably one of the easiest categories considering that most of the groups out there didn't really meet my expectations, at least for the majority of the year. Among these 6 though, Twice without question has to be my absolute favorite. I mean, they're celebrating their 10th anniversary, which is a huge achievement as most groups don't really make it this far with this level of consistency, and the fact that all 9 members are still together is quite impressive if you ask me. But not just that, but they've been hitting their activities super hard this year with their world tours, special appearances, collabs, 3 albums, their movie, etc. I mean, 2025 is definitely a year to remember for Twice, and I don't think it really comes close when comparing them to other groups in terms of activity. Not just that, but if you've seen my last video, I claimed This Is For as my favorite Twice album of all time. That release alone really blew me away and kind of had me binging Twice content for the past couple of months or so. Hearts to Hearts and Islet are pretty much a tie for me. I mean, I think Hearts to Hearts has the greatest potential when we want to talk about all the rookie groups out there right now. The Chase was an instant classic, and Style really had me crazy about them all year long. I can definitely see them as future leaders of the 5th generation, and I think SM has done it again with rounding up some phenomenal idols for the next group, and I would say they have a proven track record of being successful at this. As for Island, I have been impressed with them since the beginning of the year. To me, they've proven to be the most consistent group of the 5th generation so far, and I would even consider them the leaders of the 5th generation as well. And honestly, they don't have a single miss so far in terms of music releases, and it really feels like they've been dominating the scene since their debut last year. Granted, they haven't pushed out anything similar to Magnetic, but I think Do the Dance, Almond Chocolate, Topping, and Not Cute Anymore were absolute gems and instant Islet classics. As for IVE, I really appreciate how they improved a lot since last year. Ever since I started listening to K-pop, I've only known IVE as being one of the most dominant groups in the industry, and last year it really felt like things were crashing down, considering that they haven't won any music show awards or even day songs, even after releasing so much music. With 2025, however, they took a step back, realized their mistake, and entered the year with a more planned and focused approach. And because of that, they are on top once again, which makes me very happy for them. As I'm making this video, so far they've won I think 2 day songs, 20 music show wins, which is mighty impressive, and they've also had their 5th perfect all kill earlier in the year. Again, I've been saying this since the beginning of the year, quality over quantity, and comparing this to last year for IVE, it's the perfect example, so hopefully they carry this momentum into 2026. Right behind them is NMIXX. Guys, I gotta say, I think we're starting to see NMIXX reach their full potential. I mean, think about it. Their recent releases have been some of their best work so far. I would argue that they are already in the upper echelon when it comes to music quality of work. Their stage presence has improved significantly. Every member has matured and skill-wise are some of the most talented across the board. They've been getting a lot of support from fans lately, and they're earning a lot more music show wins as well. So all in all, NMIXX is heading in the right direction, and I feel like if JYP invested in them more, I genuinely believe that they could be an industry leading group. And if I were to put my money on any groups out there right now, it's definitely NMIXX. Since early last year, I've been pretty crazy about them, and right now they are one of my favorite groups in the industry today. Still, I gotta call them underrated, but I think we are close to seeing them as a serious contender, as I feel like more fans are buying into them than ever before. Definitely looking forward to them next year. And finally, LE SSERAFIM. In my opinion, they're one of the most impressive groups of the 4th generation. They always come through with banger music releases. I mean, look at Hot and Different. Their live stage performances are dominant, and they're so consistent with their overall quality of work as well. This year, I think they've done it again, Hot being one of my favorite releases from them in a really long time. Different was also really good, and Spaghetti was pretty solid, but probably my least favorite of the bunch. No ballads from them this year, which is kind of disappointing, as I think they make some of the best ballads in the industry, and to this day, Good Parts is my favorite ballad of all time. Not to mention, they've also won a day song at the Asian Artist Awards for Music Icon of the Year, which is amazing for them. Now let's move on to probably my favorite category, my favorite release. This shouldn't really come too much of a surprise. Ruby for me is in a league of its own, even when comparing it to the rest of the albums on here. And I say that not just because Jennie's my ultimate bias, but because top to bottom, this album checks all the boxes for me. So we have ballads, hip hop songs, city pop songs, etc. I mean, this album is just jam packed with so much flavor. Not to mention, the features on here were amazing, with Dua Lipa in the song Handlebars being my absolute favorite, which I'll get into more later on in the video. Speaking of songs, I think it's really hard to compete with Ruby if we want to go song for song. I mean, we got Love Hangover, Zen, Soul City, Start a War, Like Jennie. I mean, this whole album is just full of bangers. Obviously, Like Jennie is an instant classic, but I think the rest of the songs on here are just as good. I mean, going based off of my Spotify Wrapped, Soul City is the clear winner for me, but throughout the year, I would say I've been obsessed with each song on the album. I would even mark this album as my favorite release of all time, and I think it would be kind of difficult to match anything of this caliber, at least for me. I mean, hopefully Jennie comes out with another album someday, but Ruby is definitely more than enough for me. This Is 4 is kind of similar to Ruby in the sense that I would also consider this one of my favorite releases of all time. I mean, for so long, I feel like I've been asking for more subunit-like work from them. Obviously, they have Misimo, but doing something similar with the rest of the members is just as good, and I liked how they even mixed it up for some more songs. The group work on here is also some of my favorite music from them. Now, obviously, on an individual level, it doesn't really compare to some of their bigger hits like What Is Love and I Can't Stop Me and so forth. But with 14 songs from top to bottom, this definitely eclipses any previous albums from them in my opinion. Like, yeah, they've had some pretty strong albums out there, but nothing as consistent as This Is 4 in my opinion. Songs like Seesaw, Batitude, and Heartbreak Avenue have been some of my favorites from this album, but the rest of the songs aren't too far behind. As for Blue Valentine, I've already touched a bit on this in my previous video, but for me, it didn't feel as captivating as Stick Out. That being said, I'm not trying to say that in a bad way, but more so that's just how good their music is. Like, don't get me wrong, Blue Valentine was amazing, and I would say it's some of their best work. I mean, the title track alone was incredible, and other songs like Podium and Adore You were just as good. Not to mention, this is their first full-fledged album, and they were more than generous with their 12 songs. And I liked how they even included an updated version of their debut songs, which was a nice touch. Regardless, NMIXX continues to blow me away with their music, and this is the second year where they've done so. I've been a big fan of their work, and hopefully in the coming years they enter the conversation for being serious day song contenders, as I think they already perform at the highest level. I've already touched a bit on Hot, but if there's anything else, I think Ash is one of my favorite LE SSERAFIM songs of all time. Easily a highlight of the year for me. Not only that, I actually like their intro song for once. I used to think their past intro songs were always kind of weird, but this one was great. Again, no ballads this time, which kind of breaks my heart, but I think they more than made up for it with Ash. So Cynical was also really damn good, and we can't forget about Come Over. Comparing Hot to the albums we've already mentioned, it does seem quite small in comparison, but either way, I think this release was flawless from top to bottom. The same can be said about Islet's Bomb, as it's also a smaller release, but again, Islet has some absolute gems here. I'm talking about Jelliest, Little Monster, and of course Do the Dance, which is easily one of my favorite Islet songs of all time, and for sure a highlight of the year for me. This was so close to being their masterpiece, but I think it's going to be really hard to match with the likes of I'll Like You, which was their second release the year prior, but Bomb came really close for me. I've been listening to this album a lot lately, as I am a huge fan of the dreamy Y2K concept in K-pop in general, and Islet has really been creating some bangers over the past year or so. I personally think it's day song caliber, and hopefully soon enough they pick up some hardware for this release. And finally, without a doubt, one of the albums that has surprised me the most is Chaeyoung's Little Fantasy. This year, we've seen so many solo releases, and I think if we really want to compare them all, Chaeyoung's album has to be the most special, mainly because her choice and concept is unique to her, and I don't really see anyone else running with this theme. So that's more of a groovier R&B with a blend of soul kind of atmosphere, which I think she executed masterfully. Not only that, but with 9 different songs to choose from, there's a lot of variety here, which is very generous. Songs like Band-Aid, Shoot, and Downpour were some of my favorites, but again, I think every song on here was top shelf quality. I hope to see more work like this from Chaeyoung in the near future, if not at least if other idols could use this album as inspiration to explore other unique concepts or genres, that would be great. Now, moving on over to the next category, my favorite idol of the year. It's kind of obvious who I would have in first place, and that's Jennie, of course. And again, I'm not just saying that because she's my ultimate bias, but more so what she's done from start to finish this year. She has had a really stellar 2025, whether that's her solo album, her Coachella performance, her solo tour, her tour with Blackpink, her rankings both domestically and globally, her music show wins, and most importantly, her first day song. So really, it just feels like she checked off all the boxes for a perfect year, which I would say is a lot more impressive, considering that she has been venturing off in her own solo work for the past year or so. I would easily consider 2025 to be a highlight of her career, with her song Like Jennie really blowing up her global star power tenfold. Not just that, but the sheer amount of support that she has received all year makes me really happy for her, and I hope to see more success from her in the coming years. As for the rest of the idols on here, I would say that they're miles and miles away from Jennie in terms of dominance, which just emphasizes the kind of caliber of an idol Jennie really is. Still though, I was really impressed with the rest of the idols you see on here. So for Iroha, I really appreciate how Islet has caught on early to her potential and have really made her feel like the center of the group all year long. So for example, look at Jellius, her footwork was quite impressive, and she has even had a few viral moments of how naturally talented she is when it comes to dancing, and it was so funny seeing the comparisons of her fellow members trying to keep up with her. Still though, I think she could definitely be a leading idol of the 5th generation in the coming years. Now, I still wouldn't really call her an ace or even my bias of Islet, as I would still give that to Minju, but across the majority of the idols this year, Iroha was one of the idols that stood out the most to me, and I would even consider 2025 her year, as it really felt like she's proven herself to be one of the top tier maknaes out there today. Jiwoo, on the other hand, is easily one of my favorite rookie idols out there, and it's not just for her talents but her leadership qualities. I can't remember the last time I've ever seen a leader who is as selfless as Jiwoo, and for a rookie that's really impressive. I always catch her putting her members before herself, whether they're just having fun or in the practice room, and I really admire her for that. I truly believe that strong leadership can take a group really far, and because Hearts to Hearts has Jiwoo, I think they will be very successful long term. Besides her leadership, I think she is also a strong rookie in terms of raw talent, and she really fits the group's concept well. But to be fair, I would say the same about the rest of the members for the most part. I know mostly everybody has their eyes on Carmen, Ian, or Stella, which I would say are pretty much on par with Jiwoo, and could honestly be on this ranking as well. But again, Jiwoo's leadership really sets her apart. Now, if we want to talk about leaders, I think Yeji is easily one of the most powerful across the industry. I would say that she's in the top 1% in terms of raw talent, and similarly to Jiwoo, she also has strong leadership qualities. This year was definitely a long year for her. I mean, 4 releases is pretty intense. She had 3 with ITZY and 1 for her solo debut, which I've been waiting ages for. Even so, I think she's been really impressive with her consistency throughout the year, and her solo debut was quite impressive. Her solo era really felt like a short and sweet kind of moment, and I kind of wish it lasted a bit longer, but again, she had to prepare for Girls Will Be Girls, which is understandable. That said, I loved every comeback for her this year, with her solo work being my favorite, but honestly, I really loved her in Tunnel Vision a lot as well. I think ITZY thrives with powerful concepts, which I would say is Yeji's specialty. As for Wonyoung, I would say she's really been the center of IVE for as long as I can remember, and this year really felt like one of her best years with IVE, probably since Love Dive or even I Am. It could be because she's a lot healthier now, which is great because she is a lot stronger, but also naturally she is maturing as an idol. IVE does have more of a focus on the elegant sort of concept, which is a perfect alignment with Wonyoung's style, and that's her elegance and her center of attention approach when being on stage. Like, comparing her to other idols out there, she isn't super explosive or anything, but I feel like we don't really see any other groups out there similar to IVE, or even idols similar to Wonyoung. So in that sense, it really makes her feel a lot more unique. And with IVE having one hell of a year, she's been at the forefront of every comeback. Now, could she be in her prime? I think she's nearing that point, but still has a ways to go. But looking back, she's done a lot already, and not just with IVE, but also with IZ*ONE. So moving forward, I think a Wonyoung solo debut would be amazing, especially now since we're seeing so many idols do that. And finally, Chaeyoung. Of all the idols this year, I did not expect Chaeyoung to have a solo release, and man, was it such a great album. Not only that, but her performances with Twice and her feature on Takedown really made 2025 a highlight in her career. Her taste in music especially has really gravitated me towards her more, as I really like the soul slash R&B kind of style to her, and I don't really see anybody else doing it like her, so to me it really makes her unique and stands out even more compared to Twice. All in all, every idol here did great, but again, Jennie was just in a league of her own this year. Moving along to the next category, my favorite song of the year. Probably one of the more difficult categories considering how many great songs we had this year, but these were the most impactful to me. Starting off with Jennie's Soul City, just going based off of my Spotify stats alone, this was my most played song of the year, and with good reason. I really love how Jennie dived into that city pop sort of aesthetic with this song, which is one of my favorite themes just in all of music in general, and she crafted a masterpiece with this song. To be fair, I would say the same statement about every song on Ruby, but this one really took the cake for me. I really love the chill and laid back vibes here, and I've been listening to this song religiously since its release. Do the Dance was honestly really close to being in the number one spot for me, as I also listen to this song on a daily basis. Islet has so many gems within their discography, and I gotta be honest, I think this is my favorite Islet song ever. Now it kind of ties with their ballad Pimple, another song that I play daily, but Do the Dance really felt like a highlight of 2025 for me. Now Islet does not miss and are always delivering top shelf music within the Y2K space of K-pop, and I believe that they are truly Daesung worthy. Another song that came close was NMIXX's High Horse. This song instantly became my favorite song from them, and I appreciate how great their music has been all year long. I would honestly consider this their masterpiece, and I loved how dynamic the song was. It was like a blend of a hip-hop song and a ballad. They since then made similar songs like Blue Valentine, for example, so I guess moving forward this is part of their musical formula. And as for style, I think this was Chef's Kiss. If Hearts to Hearts were to have a theme song, it's gotta be this song, as it just screams Hearts to Hearts. I love how catchy it is, and it brings such a bright atmosphere. Again, another song that I've been listening to it on a daily basis, and I would say that this feels like an instant 5th generation classic. LE SSERAFIM's Ash was an absolute masterpiece, and I might rank this within my top 10 songs for them, which is really hard for me to say considering how many 4th generation classics they have loaded in their discography. That said, I really love the vibes of the song. It kind of had a cinematic slash mellow sort of tone that had me listening to it throughout the entire year. And finally, Minnie with her song Blind Eyes Red, another standout solo debut this year, and her whole album was fantastic, but I cannot stop listening to this song. It's just too addicting. This song was so powerful and dramatic and really showed us Minnie's true potential as a soloist. I think if she were to pursue more solo work that she could definitely become a leading contender in the industry because this song was just that good. Again, I think it's a tie between all the songs on here. Throughout the year, I've had all of these songs on repeat, and I know that years from now, when I look back at 2025, these songs will always come to mind. Moving on over to one of my favorite categories, my favorite ballad of the year. This year, I would say we had some pretty amazing ballads, starting out with Hearts to Hearts Butterflies. Debuting with their big hit The Chase, including a ballad beside that, really left a strong impression on me, as I instantly believed this song to be one of my favorite ballads of all time. Like, I'm talking about within my top 10 level of good. And if we look back at recent years, there have been some incredible ballads. So that just really tells me that Hearts to Hearts has the potential to make some incredible ballads moving forward, and I hope that they bring us more. As for Jellyfish, this was a single from Yoonjin, and it was one of the first songs of the year. This song felt really under the radar, and I think she deserves a lot more recognition for this song. It's a pretty simple but beautiful song, and without a doubt my favorite song from her solo work. Now, I don't think I would put it in the same realm as Butterflies to be within my top 10, but for sure it deserves its flowers for being one of my favorites of the year. Now, I almost never really talk about ballads from IVE as they typically don't attract me that much, but You Wanna Cry was definitely a hidden gem. Now, this song is a bit more dynamic and loud compared to your traditional ballads, but still, I think they executed this song really, really well. I mean, anywhere from the build up of the song to the dynamic vocal execution, You Wanna Cry is one of my favorite songs from IVE this year. As for Ocean, I think NMIX did a standout job with this song. I almost never hear anyone talk about this song, but then again, almost nobody ever talks about ballads in general. Back to this song though, I really love NMIX's vocal execution on here, as I do believe that they have some of the best vocals as a group within the fourth generation. It really felt like every member shined on here from start to finish, and again, I would consider this another hidden gem within their discography. Young Posse has really surprised me this year with their ballad Cold, as typically they're known for their hip hop heavy songs, but even so, I think their ballads are some of the best out there, and they deserve a lot more credit. Cold is a masterpiece if you ask me, and I would say that this song in particular really reeled me into following this group, as I've always known about them but never really been a huge fan up until now. And finally, Lisa with her song Dream. Prior to Alter Ego, I never really envisioned Lisa to take a shot at a ballad, but she really surprised me with this song. Another really simple but well executed ballad. Now, I know there was a bit of speculation behind this song, and to be honest, I never really pay attention to those type of things when it comes to K-pop, but besides that, Lisa did a fantastic job here, and it's obvious that she poured her heart out for this one, and I kind of left wanting more like this from her in the near future. Moving on over to another one of my favorite categories, and that's my favorite hip hop song of the year. I think this year we had a pretty insane lineup of hip hop songs, and there are a few more than these that were just as good, but these six really impressed me the most. Yes Sir is probably the most powerful song that I've ever heard from Young Posse. I mean, they really went all out with this song, and I knew that hip hop is more so their forte compared to the rest on here, but with this song, we really got a glimpse of their true potential. Again, I think they are the most underrated group within the entire industry, and the fact that they're putting out songs of this caliber really shows me that they are striving to become a contender, and I hope that they continue to bring work similar to this, as I believe that it would propel them into the right direction in the coming years. Lisa's Fuck Up the World is without question my favorite song from her, and that's been kind of hard for me to say when comparing it to how iconic her song Money was, but this song really showed us a more aggressive rapping side to her, which I think shows her true power as an idol. Now, when comparing this song to the rest of her songs on Alter Ego, I didn't really feel the same level of impact, so in that sense, I think her album kind of felt like a missed opportunity. This song is in a league of its own, as to me, it really felt like she spent most of her effort when making this song, and hopefully she continues to release more songs of this caliber within the hip hop realm of K-pop. Jennie's Filter is so amazing, and it's a song that I would consider a hidden gem within her album Ruby, as nobody else ever mentions this song. This is also one of my favorite songs from Jennie across the board, as she really stretched her wings with her rapping talents, but to be fair, I felt that way throughout her entire album. Now, one song that I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys haven't really had the chance to listen to is Diamonds in My Mouth by VVS. They're a lot more underground within the fifth generation and have had a pretty solid debut in terms of their quality of music. Now, this song in particular really stood out to me as it leans more into that hardcore rapping category, which I think would give Young Posse a run for their money. So to me, these are two standout groups with a lot of potential within the fifth generation. I still gotta see more from VVS considering that they're a rookie group, but hopefully they come out with more music soon. One song that I think that had a lot more potential was Baymon's Hot Sauce. I find it kind of crazy how a lot of fans initially turned away from this song, and I know a lot of people didn't really like the old school sort of style to it, but that's exactly why I fell in love with the song. Maybe it's because I'm getting old, but to me this was an instant banger. Not their best work by any means, but for sure within their top 10 if you ask me. And finally, ITZY with their song I Know Me. It's been a while since I've had anything from ITZY as being part of one of my favorites of the year, so this feels really good. Their Collector album was well polished from top to bottom, but for me, I had to keep this song on repeat. I love it when ITZY dives deeper into the hip-hop sort of realm, and we rarely get to see it, but when they do, it's some of their best work in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying this song in particular really stacks up to any of their iconic songs, but let's just say I have it ranked pretty high. I know over the past year or so, I have expressed how ITZY has kind of been lacking a bit lately, but with this song, I would say that my faith in them has been revived, and I hope that they carry this level of work moving forward. Because I still think that they have the raw talent to take them far, but they just need to be more consistent with their music. Now, for one of the newer categories, my favorite collab of the year. Without a doubt, the collab between Jennie and Dua Lipa is probably not just my favorite collab of the year, but of all time. Outside of K-pop, Dua Lipa is actually one of my favorite artists out there, and I've been listening to her music for a couple of years now, so this collaboration felt really special to me. But not just that, the song Handlebars itself was amazing as well, and I think these two make such a powerful duo for making some great music, and I pray that we get more music from them again. Another great collab was between Jennie, Kali Uchis, and Childish Gambino for the song Damn Right. The vibe of the song is totally different when comparing it to Handlebars and really showed us how versatile of an idol Jennie is when it comes to making music. See what I'm saying? Jennie's album Ruby is just way too overpowered for anyone else to really compete with from top to bottom. Whether it's the collabs, the variety of music tastes, the quality of work, etc. I mean, I genuinely feel like she knocked it out of the park with this whole album, and I think that it's going to be very hard to top this, probably even for Jennie herself. But anyway, before I start going deeper into that album even more, let's just move on over to NMIX and Pablo Vittar for the song Mesh. Now, yes, I get it, this isn't a K-pop song, but it was just so good that I had to talk about it. We rarely see K-pop idols collaborate with artists from different industries, but even more rare for groups. So that alone just made this feel a lot more special. But this song really gave us a taste of a more powerful side to NMIX, at least in terms of style, which I think they executed really well and left me wanting more. Now moving over to Le Sserafim Spaghetti, I'm pretty sure everyone's eyes lit up when they noticed that J-Hope of BTS was on this song, and he's like one of the biggest idols out there today. So that alone was amazing, but I gotta admit, I wasn't totally crazy about this song, but it was still executed really well, and I think J-Hope killed it. For sure, one of the collabs that caught me off guard, and definitely a highlight of 2025. As for Lisa, Doja Cat, and Ray, probably one of my favorite songs from Alter Ego besides Fuck Up the World. They've done a great job with the groovier disco pop type vibes, and it really feels like Lisa has been experimenting with different genres of music over the past year or so, which I find to be quite refreshing. Again, Doja Cat, another artist that I listen to outside of K-pop, so this collab was quite special to me. Probably one of the biggest collabs of the year belongs to none other than Jisoo and Zayn Malik. I'll be honest here, I'm not like the biggest fan of Zayn Malik, but I knew that years ago he was like one of the biggest artists out there. Still, I think this was a pretty solid collab, and even though I wasn't like totally blown away by the song, I was more so just impressed by the reach that Jisoo has to make a song with one of the biggest names in the industry. And now for our final category, my favorite choreography of the year. Probably one of the more harder ones, at least for me, as I haven't really seen that many choreos that have really caught my attention, but still, I managed to pick a few that did. Without a doubt, I gotta go with Eilit's Do the Dance as my absolute favorite. I think Eilit has done a fantastic job here, and it's not super complex or anything, but it goes along with the song so well, and I can't see it any other way. I would say that this is some of their best work so far. Now, I would still give Magnetic the slight edge, but for me, Do the Dance comes really close. Hands Up by Meow has really left a lasting impression on me, and that's their potential to be one of the best dancers among the fifth generation. Every single member was serving insane physical power, and really, it felt like it was on another level the whole song. Again, another standout performance by them, and I'm not entirely sure if I could call this my favorite choreo from them, considering that they're loaded with insane choreography. Now in third, I went with Like Jennie. Now I know, I'm sure it might surprise some of you guys, especially considering that she's my ultimate bias, but don't get me wrong, this easily was the highlight of the year, but maybe it's just because I've seen it like a million times. Still, I think it fit perfectly well with the song. The choreo focused more on her being the center of attention on stage, as she's surrounded by so many backup dancers. At the same time though, it felt quite dynamic, and it was awesome seeing this choreo trend everywhere throughout the entire year. This for sure is Jennie's best performance and is an instant third gen classic. As for Hearts to Hearts, I kinda had to choose between Style and The Chase, but I went along with Style more so because, similar to previous ones mentioned, it just went along really well with the song. Not just that though, I think Hearts to Hearts are some pretty impressive dancers. Now, I wouldn't say it's explosive or anything, but their movements are just so sharp and all the members are perfectly in sync, so anytime I watch them perform, it's just really amazing to watch. To me, Hot felt like an instant classic for LE SSERAFIM, with their choreo also fitting the theme quite well. I still remember watching this for the first time and just being in shock when they started moonwalking. So definitely one of the more unique choreos out there. Now, differently from the rest that you see on here, I don't really think that this ranks within their top 10 in terms of choreo, just because I feel like LE SSERAFIM already has one hell of a lineup of choreography when it comes to some of the best moves within the fourth generation. And finally, Yeji for her solo air. Like I mentioned a bit earlier, to this day, I think Yeji is one of the strongest idols out there in all areas, if I'm being honest. And even though I feel like she didn't go all out for this song, I still think she put on a great performance. Definitely a great start to her solo career. Now, sure, it probably wasn't as huge as some idols out there, but for me, I think she did a fantastic job. And there you guys have it, my final female K-pop favorites of 2025. Now, for some final thoughts of the year. If I'm being really honest, I think if we really want to compare this year to previous years, it kind of felt a bit underwhelming, at least for the group work for the majority of the year. To me, 2025 really felt like it had more of a focus on solo work, and looking back, there has been a lot of solo releases this year, probably the most we've ever seen. Not just that, but a lot of solo debuts as well, like Yeji, Minnie, and Chaeyoung, for example. But now this kind of leaves me wondering if we're going to see more solo debuts for next year, and maybe even some for 5th generation idols. I feel like someone from Kiss of Life or Baemon would be awesome. Speaking of which, I don't think any groups within the 5th generation have won a day song yet, which is kind of disappointing. I remember having a conversation a few years ago with somebody about the 5th generation and how they're going to take over and everything, but man, it feels like the 4th generation still has a firm grip on the industry. Not to say that there aren't any Daesung level 5th gen groups. I think the clear frontrunners are both Island and Baemon, with Hearts to Hearts and Meow probably being the sleeping giants. But it's been a couple years now, and I would argue that the 5th generation has had stronger debuts. I mean, look at Magnetic, for example, and that there's talent everywhere. So think of Baemon, Kiss of Life, etc. So the foundation is definitely there for the 5th generation to dominate the industry, but this year just wasn't it. I actually think that last year was infinitely superior, but hopefully next year we can see some improvement. As for the 4th generation, they're doing a bit better. I mean, so far we've seen IVE and LE SSERAFIM picking up some day songs, which is great. NMIX has been growing a lot this year, and aespa, even though they aren't having the stellar year like they did in 2024, they're still at the top of the industry, so good for them. We've also seen some updates on the New Jeans members finally returning, but that will probably take even more time to finalize. Now, I feel like if New Jeans were to return, I think it would really shake things up in the industry, as even today, when they haven't been active for over a year, they're still doing well on the charts, and I think I may have even seen them get nominated for some awards, which is kind of crazy. Either way, besides all the solo work and some standout releases, I would say ever since I got into K-pop, which was like around early 2023, that 2025 may be my least favorite year from top to bottom. Sure, it was still a great year. I mean, look at everything I talked about in the video, right? But this year, probably besides Like Jenny and maybe some work from Twice, nothing really felt as impactful as something from previous years. Like, whenever somebody talks about 2024, what always comes to my mind for me is Whiplash, Crazy, Magnetic, Sheesh, Supernatural, or even 2023, we had Super Shy, Drama, Perfect Night. I mean, come on. 2025 just didn't feel as hard-hitting as previous years, and because of that, I didn't really feel too excited about K-pop halfway through the year. At least things got a bit better for the second half of the year, but still, even then, it didn't blow me away. Don't get it twisted though, because I am still very much looking forward to 2026, and hopefully we see something that makes it more memorable for years to come. That's it, guys. Another year is in the books, and even though this is my last video of the year, I'm still not done talking about 2025. Since the first 2 months of the new year, there isn't really much content out there, so I try to share my final tier lists for groups and idols, which I really look forward to, and I hope that you stick around for that. That said, I really appreciate you watching. Let me know your thoughts on the K-pop industry for 2025 down in the comments, as I do appreciate different perspectives. And if you enjoyed the video, then please drop a like, as that does help me out a lot. And consider subscribing for more videos like this in the near future. Again, thanks for watching, and until next year, take care.